So, you want to hear another story, huh? One where the very fate of Pandora hangs in the balance? If not, too bad, I'm telling you anyway.
Pussy on.
What is up, guys? How you doing? It is me, InfamousB, and I have been playing Borderlands 2 with my mate Jimbo for the past few weeks. The question today is whether or not Borderlands 2 is worth playing nowadays, seeing as how it was released in 2012. There is a lot to get through, and so little time to get through it, so I'll be covering the story, the characters, the gameplay, and the guns. How do I explain this complex story as simply as possible? Well, it's a bank heist, but you're robbing a planet, not a bank. The planet is called Pandora, and it's lorded over by the love child of Wall-E and the Joker, a guy called Handsome Jack, who is part robot, part madman, and he's one of the funniest villains I've ever had the chance to play against. You arrive on the planet in search of a vault, and discover Handsome Jack is already hard at work trying to open it. He hates competition and tries to kill you in the opening cutscene by blowing up the train you're on.
It's cute that y'all think you're the heroes of this little adventure, but you're not. Welcome to Pandora, kiddos.
There begins the story. As you make your way around Pandora, you meet a load of weird and wonderful characters, eventually taking refuge in a rebel town called Sanctuary. This place was our home for a long time.
Why, yes, I am single.
Sanctuary belongs to a rebel group called the Crimson Raiders, captained by a guy called Roland in partnership with a lady called Lilith. Their goal, your goal, is to stop Handsome Jack from getting to the vault first.
Hey up.
The closer you get to the vault, the more the story that is uncovered, eventually revealing that the vault does not contain any sort of treasure, but instead contains a warrior. And to open the vault, Handsome Jack needs a key, but not a regular chub key. This key is a person, or more accurately, a class of person known as a siren. There have only ever been 6 sirens in the Borderlands world, and Lilith is one of them. Handsome Jack uses Lilith as a key to open the vault, and it ends in an epic battle between you, Jack, and the warrior. The game ends when you've killed both Jack and the warrior, and the final cutscene shows a map of the galaxy where a number of other vaults exist. Now, if you manage to follow that, well done. The game is full of stories upon stories. If you wanted a more in-depth look at the story, there are countless Borderland-focused channels that will give you an in-depth guide about the lore of the game and every side mission within. Go check them out. All I will say is that if you like a good story, a true tale, a narrative-driven game, then this is a story worth looking into. There are 6 characters you can choose to play the game with. I went for the Psycho class, a brute called Krieg, whose skills involved punching himself in the face until he died, or setting himself on fire until he died. Whilst Jim went for a character called Gage, who had the ability to summon a death robot that we lovingly referred to as Dave. Both characters had extremely different playstyles. Krieg was a high-risk, high-reward character, and Gage was a character you wanted around if shit went south. Dave could heal your shield mid-battle, and that came in use so many times. All the main characters are independent enough to have a completely different story experience. It's worth doing some research before playing. Unlike me, who based my character selection on looks alone. The NPCs in this game are pretty funny too, ranging from this big lass called Ellie, who is complete filth, to Tiny Tina, a child who is a mastermind with explosives. You spend a lot of time in-game getting to know these characters, and each one has their own story to tell. A lot of the side missions, in fact, are based on the NPC personalities, which led to some interesting situations.
I got a problem. I'm supposed to be guarding this here town, but I ain't got any armor.
Best be good, you big-titted bitch.
Find me something that'll protect all this beautiful girth.
You fucking put me out in a...
Depending on how you feel, you can either go balls to the walls hard, running and gunning like no man's business, shooting and looting like you don't give two shits. For the quieter moments though, you have an in-game menu that you can spend hours fine-tuning. I mean, there's so much story to lap up, you could spend days reading through all the plots and subplots. You will spend hours looking at your skill tree, which can change the way you play the game entirely. You have something else called badass tokens, which can alter your character's basic skills like reload time, gun damage or health, to list a few. But needless to say, the gameplay is what you make of it. You start as a vanilla bitch, but after you've slaughtered the majority of people on Pandora, you end up with the skills that pay the goddamn bills. I enjoyed every minute of it at least, even the collectible missions. There is one from Tiny Tina DLC where you collect crumpets. It's jokes, but they're varied enough not to lose interest. The biggest draw for this game, for me at least, was the guns. And here's where things get interesting.
Well, hello, Mrs. Tedior.
Hello, John. How are you?
Worried.
Oh, why's that?
I desperately want to protect my family from the marauding hordes of psychos and perverts, but I don't have a lot of money to spend on home defense.
Oh, John, you needn't worry. The Tedior Corporation manufactures high-quality weapons that anyone can afford.
But Miss Tedior, I lost both of my thumbs in a horrific foreplay incident, and I'm physically incapable of reloading guns.
No problem, John. Tedior's Insta-Digistruct reloading system gives our weapons faster reloads than any other manufacturer. Thumbs not required.
How about that? If I were able to, I'd give that a thumbs up. I can't hold my own child.
The guns in this game are unreal, and quite funny. There are billions to choose from basic HP guns to ones that fire explosive swords. I mean, where else do you get this many options? Every boss you face, every chest you open, presents a new possibility for a bigger and better gun, and your arsenal is constantly changing. A gun that worked an hour ago might be completely piss poor for the new area. And that's what keeps you hooked, is the promise of a better weapon. A promise you are consistently let down on. There will always be some negative for the positive. Want huge damage? Fine, but it'll take you 6 seconds to reload. Okay, so you want to reload faster? Fine. There's loads of options, but you're compromising on damage. So let's go back to the original question. Is it worth buying and playing through Borderlands 2 nowadays? Well, yeah. Are you kidding? It's $11.99 for the Handsome Collection, which includes the pre-sequel and all the DLCs. That's about 150 hours of gameplay. If you want to get anal about the figures, that's $11.99 divided by 150, so it costs about 8p an hour to play. My question then is, why wouldn't you? I enjoyed it so much that I went onto the PS4 spring sales and downloaded Borderlands 3, which is currently 25 quid. I'll be live streaming that in a few weeks on Twitch. I'll put the link in the description, as well as a link to my Twitter if you want to keep up to date with what's going on. I'm giving it an 8 out of 10. So if you've been following my series, that means Borderlands 2 so far is drawing at first place with Unraveled 2. So here we are at the end of the video. If you've made it to this point, thank you for watching. I do put some effort into these videos, so a subscription would be very much appreciated. Anyway guys, take it easy, stay well, in a bit. Oh, he dies in fucking... he dies
God, you're a bastard. Fuck off.
Come on in. You're missing the fun.